Hey there, ex-movie critic Vaughn, now the scorn of Hollywood, with another Netflix commentary track for you. This is Batman Begins from 2005. I think you're familiar with the film. I sure hope you've seen it before indulging in this commentary. So if you have Netflix, which, 100 million of you do, go ahead, cue up the movie, get it back to 000, and hit play now. So right off the bat, we are treated with a black and white Warner Brothers production logo here. Warner Brothers Pictures in black and white. Now it's quite common, and I'm trying to think where this really started with the whole, hey, let's go ahead and alter the studio logo some for everyone. When did that really start there? Kind of wondering. What was the first movie to do that? The Matrix did that with Warner Brothers. I know that much. It's fairly common now. We got a bat logo right there. I remember seeing of this movie, like the news coming out, the changes to Batman. And I was immediately put off. And this was in probably the summer of 2004. They showed a picture of the car. They said, this is the new Batmobile. They showed Christian Bale in the cowl, ears a little short. That made me mad. They showed the logo. Hey, why are you changing the Batman logo? If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Well, here's the thing, guys. Sometimes you got to go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is. It's what this famous poker guy, whose name I can't quite remember, and I'm probably going to get it wrong. It's like Bunsen. Yeah. Doyle Bunsen, something like that. Bunsen burner. That sounds familiar. You gotta take some risks, and these risks paid off. They made an edgier Batman film. Now, in 2005, you're thinking, okay, this is the first of the reboots, okay? Have people heard of the term reboot before Batman Begins and Man of Steel? The term reboot was not floating around like that. But what few people seem to realize is that the 1989 Batman film was actually a reboot itself. There was a Batman movie. It was, I think it was Batman, the movie, and based on the TV show, 66, with Burt Ward, and yeah, I'm buying myself time here because I forgot the guy's name and he died, and yeah, I look like a dick. Whatever. You know what you're getting into. That was actually a reboot itself, and it was a stepping stone that got Batman to be taken more seriously. A stepping stone. Honestly, I think that Batman 1989, the first movie that I saw in theaters, goes toe-to-toe with, and I'm not saying The Dark Knight, I'm saying Batman Begins as the best superhero films. I would also possibly give some credit to Spider-Man 2. It's one of the best reviewed superhero films. So Batman, I guess we don't know if he's Batman, if you avoid the press. If you're going into this movie blind, you're not totally sure who this guy is here, but he's kicking a lot of butt. I did not actually see this in theaters. This was the first and, I believe, only Batman film, if we don't include Justice League and Suicide Squad as Batman films, of my lifetime that I had not seen in theaters. It was not a big hit. I think it made under 400 million. I could be mistaken there. Kind of in an under the radar type way. Positive reviews. It's just people were not too willing to accept a different Batman. And it's not so much a different Batman, but a Batman that ignores what we'd already put in for 4 movies. Most of us 3. Okay, let's be honest, at least 1. So we have Christian Bale here. He's in a murky eastern prison. He meets this dapper dude with a odd mustache. Calls himself, Descartes? Yeah, I like to do commentary tracks when I haven't seen a movie in, years. I just kind of throw on the subtitles and try to catch myself up. It's a little weird here to think that somebody can be in prison, like, voluntarily. Like, it's like, hey, what's this guy looking for? You got this rich guy going around doing these suicidal daredevil type things. What's he into? You need some guidance. You can join my... Was it League of Shadows? Is that what it was? This is very weird because this is a Batman villain brought to screen that wasn't a creation of Bob Kane or Bill Finger. Yeah, I'm throwing Bill Finger in there too. A guy who didn't get his just due in being the creator of Batman, or in the very least the co-creator of Batman. The guy who helped him become Batman, far different than Bob Kane's initial concept. He didn't get his just due until sometime well later. And now I think they have to go back and put his name in the credits of all of these. Might want to keep an eye out for that. See if it says created by Bob Kane or if it includes and Bill Finger, which I believe it will. All right, so you got out of prison, but we're just, in America, you always get that scene where the guy gets off the bus and they give him like $10. Hey, go get yourself some food. Bye. Well, you just got your ass thrown off. Something of a signature shot for a Christopher Nolan film. These sweeping, rotating, yet exit shots that kind of give off this geography. You'll see a lot of that in his films. A lot of this, let's dolly out. Now we're reversing that. Dolly in, pushing. Well, this is a helicopter shot. There was a time when the helicopter shot was most impressive. You had a helicopter shot in your indie film was the shit. Then just a couple years later, everybody's doing it because of drones. This movie, excellent music, indeed. I'm gonna have to look something up here, make sure that I got this shit right. But I think you'll notice that the music associated with The Dark Knight is really Batman Begins score. In fact, let me check that out here. I can't play this stuff for you, and it's such a shame, but I think you guys get the idea here. Am I starting to say idea? Like the English do? Who builds this elaborate fortress so far away from society? Just the resources of having to lug that stuff around, it just doesn't add up to me. You'll hear those kind of trumpeting sounds. Hans Zimmer's score here. Not the one you've heard so far, but when chases are in pursuit. That was actually first used in Black Rain from 1989, directed by Ridley Scott. When Michael Douglas is like breaking into the some guy's house and searching it for clues, you'll hear what you now know, or most people will call, the Dark Knight theme. So here we are. He had to go get some flour. He's bringing it to these guys. It's some kind of like prove your metal, I guess, here. You're all bundled up. Well, here's this delicate flower. Here you go. This was done as a gag in Almost Heroes with Chris Farley and Matthew Perry first. Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul. I've heard it both ways, as Sean Spencer would say. I've heard it both ways from within the canon. Like, Warner Brothers and DC does not seem to honestly have an idea of where they want to go with the pronunciation for this. Now he's doing a little bit of fighting here. He's fighting Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, one of the taller actors at 6'5", that puts him alongside, Jesus Christ, Tom Selleck. And then here's the weird thing. I've heard Jeff Goldblum 6'4" to 6'6", but John Wayne's 6'5" also. Oh, there's your flower. Yep, take care of that right there. There you go. They're talking about fear, and this is a leitmotif throughout the film here. He has this initial fright from falling down this well. His dad, the guy who took over for McCoy on Law and Order, comes over and rescues him. Bruce Wayne's dad, such a chill dude. He has the Help has a daughter that he hangs out with, evidently. Oi, my name is Michael Caine, and I do not age past 65. It's hard to find good kid actors, so you may as well settle for believable enough. But this guy, what is with all the freaking Brits in this movie, or series for that matter? And by series, I mean Christopher Nolan trilogy. I refuse to call it the Dark Knight trilogy. That is some bullshit. Yes, you may refer to it as the Indiana Jones films because the character's name is Indiana Jones, not because starting with Temple of the Doom, it starts off with the title Indiana Jones and the Bum 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 Bum. The first movie's called Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, we can't go and just call this the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight is the second film. The Dark Knight Rises is the third. What's the first one called? Not the Dark Knight. Now take a look at this skyline here. They're going across this train. They're talking about how they're improving Gotham. It's their responsibility. Yeah, we have a CGI train set up over here. There were some reviewers who took issue with the changes. There's Wayne Tower. With the changes between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Okay, yeah, I can kind of see it now. I'm trying to recall if it's Leonard Maltin or Roger Ebert who was a bit put off that The Dark Knight depicted a contemporary Gotham and not one with futuristic aesthetic. I would say that one additional feature, the train setup, the L train, is it really that futuristic? Okay, it's not there, but I would not call it futuristic by any means. Maybe it just wasn't a focal point worth bringing up a great deal in the next two films. I didn't really feel like they reverted and said, no more futuristic Gotham. That's getting a little too Batman Forever. Let's just knock it back down. Now, I was definitely put off as far as seeing this film in theaters because my impression of Batman 1989 is you bought your ticket, or your parents did in my case, as they still do, and you already knew who Batman was. You know, that was it. You knew who Batman was, you didn't need to see his origin. And now this movie comes along and it's like, okay, well, I kind of already know who Batman is. Do I need to see this movie? Do I need to see him begin? It's not a very promising title, is it? Batman Begins. It's like, okay, so are we just going to lead up to something and nothing much is going to happen? So here we have the origin of Batman. Bruce Wayne gets scared at the theater, goes outside into the dank alleyway where nothing good ever happens. The best thing that ever happened in a movie in an alleyway was walking in and going to buy a Mogwai. And even then was not necessarily a good thing. Yeah, so the guy kept the gun on the wife, and the Papa Wing jumps in front of him, takes a bullet. Bruce is really shaken up. Well, shit. I mean, his dad got killed. Somehow remembers this guy, Gordon here. He ain't no commissioner yet, but just thought that he seemed like a good guy on the force. This has stuck with him. You know, the world's greatest detective has to have some people reading skills. How does he become the world's greatest detective if it's not with some tutelage from the police? Are the cops just the world's most incompetent cops? And this, when I first saw it, there's a certain off-putness because you realize that the Joker in the comic books was not the guy who killed Bruce's parents and thus made him Batman. But the 1989 movie says it is. It says it's easier to be like, I made you, you made me. Well, in this case, it's like, oh, okay, so we're expecting the Joker to show up. What? It's just some guy? Oh, well, he becomes the Joker, right? The guy who kills the parents. And then shit gets real. It's like, goes and offs him in the court. And it's like, what the hell? He killed... That can't be right. You know, does not compute. It was not a common thing for movies to disregard shit that happened before them when the titles are alike, when it involves the same characters from the same studio. And nowadays, it's happening every other year. Hey, just forget about that over here. We're rebooting Spider-Man again. See ya. Notice he looks out the window. There's an Oldsmobile Aurora out there. Those are... I think that might be like a 1995 car. Hell, that one might have been actually a little newer than that. Makes you wonder when some of these events take place. At what year is Batman Begins or The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises for that matter? I mean, shit, the guy's a little kid. And he's supposed to be 30? Seems like we're a little off here, unless this is somewhere well after 2005. I would think this movie could take place in 2015. Showing him the ways of ninjas. Poking and prodding him. Gotta wonder if there's anybody else really to train there, or are these guys like master ninjas? How seldom do they take in a new ninja apprentice here? I've never seen Eastern combatants with these kind of like forearm protectors, but you'd kind of think maybe if they were this potent, they would go with it. It's because shit's like blocking swords and stuff. Now they're going and taking the law into their own hands, and Bruce Wayne doesn't quite like this. He's like, okay, we'll help the police, but it's not up for us to decide who lives and who dies, and for what. Now, Liam Neeson, a little bit of a receding hairline here. Did he get some hair plugs? Like, shortly after this? He seemed to have longer hair going. More of it going in Taken, doesn't he? Or the gray, for that matter. Now, Ducard here. Though, I mean, who can we really say he is? Because the idea here is that the character is actually supposed to be Asian. But then you're set up with this idea that the Asian guy is a decoy. So if somebody goes after him, it's no big whoop. They have another target on him. But the character is also tied to this very outlandish Lazarus Pit idea, where He goes into this pit and he gets like fixed up. He's practically immortal. Totally ignored here. Probably for the better. This is a grounded in reality, plausible crime fighter film. Near I say superhero, as most people would say. The only trouble there is, what is Batman's superpower? And that would be a shitload of money. I would almost go with infinite, but in the stupidity of shit that happens in The Dark Knight Rises, he ends up going bankrupt. I guess. It's showing him here that he's receiving this new father figure he didn't know he wanted. You ever take that in mind there? You're outside. Don't rub your hands together. Rub your arms. Your hands warm themselves. Might be worth bringing up. Alright, so what are they going on about here? Would you avenge your parents? Let's get another flashback. A bit weird how this is put together. There's quite a bit dancing around between the time periods. Bruce Wayne kind of heading home from college here before he sets out on his quest to harden up. But then it'll flash back. Because a good man. So now Alfred's going on about how he's ride or die. He's sticking with them. Though they ruined that in the third movie. And again, I don't give a shit that Warner Brothers sells a Blu-ray set called The Dark Knight Trilogy. Total misnomer. What do we got in here? A stethoscope, because my dad liked to pretend to be a doctor on occasion, even though he really didn't need to be. Oh wait, he owned the hospital. Generational wealth, guys. You know, if you are a billionaire and you have kids, at least one of them has to be Batman. Or you suck. Frankly, that Donald Trump is as rich as he is, and his kids didn't turn out like Lindsay Lohans and Kardashians and shit. None of them have a drug addiction. Tiffany, maybe. I don't know for sure. I'm saying it's a miracle. Enter Katie Holmes, the aged up Help's daughter. She's always had such a baby face, hasn't she? I remember it was around like 98, 99, big years for her. She was so talked up like she was the it thing. I never really saw it. I mean, you want to, if you want to see the it part of it, okay. Go watch, what's that movie? Shit. I don't want to look it up. There's one where she gets her boobs out, and it's a sight to behold. I didn't know she was hiding that under there. Face-wise, I would just say she looks kind of normal, like on the plus side of normal. Kind of like what normal would be expected to be. Oh, but nowadays, everybody's a freak. You're either overweight, you're pushing holes into your face, inking it up. You gotta color your hair purple to stand out with everybody else who has purple hair. Shit. We have a trial here. Here's the guy who killed his parents. What took so long? Why don't you think the death penalty's coming? Something. This isn't the way parole hearings work. It's a room. You got like 3 people. Shawshank Redemption. It's not a. Everybody get up here and let's have a trial for a parole hearing. So, looks like the idea here is that this guy gets away, or he gets to leave. And my reaction is, okay, makes sense. He has to be the Joker somehow, right? Here we go. Bruce Wayne is about to just straight up execute him right here, City Hall. And then some woman beats him to the punch. Never to be seen again. I gotta wonder, who was she? Would have been kind of interesting if they elaborated on that in maybe the 3rd movie, where everything in the first movie is relevant. It's so weird the way these are structured, because it's almost like you could disregard The Dark Knight. The one that most people would say is the best. In that, you could skip that over and just be like, oh, hey, the Death Star again. League of Shadows, Ra's al Ghul, the guy who trained you, the guy who brought you here. We're going back to that. Like how Empire Strikes Back doesn't have the Death Star. So all you need to know is that they have to go get the Death Star again, right? You have to go take out Ra's plan, his League of Shadows and shit. Here's where Katie Holmes really drops the ball. It's this diarrhea of exposition, trying to sound tough. They're putting out a lot of names from early comics. Falcone, Joe Chill. Even in The Dark Knight, there's mobsters he's run across that were early villains for Batman, as he largely fought mobsters, these gangster guys. It's a popular thing in the time. Not world in peril situations. Eventually it got to the point where he ended up going against, and it was with about the introduction of Batman, because in Detective Comics he starts off in there is a lot of the detective point to it. He kills people, jump kicks a guy through a window, snaps his neck, it says, in like the first issue he's in. It's like Detective Comics number 27. For my money, the most valuable comic book you can acquire. I would say this over Superman 1, as people actually do prefer Batman to Superman. I realize Superman is the first superhero of modern times, let's say. I realize his comic book is a little bit older. Batman's is better. It's that simple. Gives up the gun. He's going to go have a talk with the mobsters. Doesn't go super well. No gun. I'm insulted. I'm going to start saying that to people. I'm going to have a guy shake them down. It's like, hey, you came here for a job interview? Oh, you didn't have a gun on you. Shit. Yeah, his gal Rachel, I believe Katie Holmes' character is an original to the film. I don't think she has a comic book origin or a similar character. Doesn't this movie strike you as having this high contrast, yet neutral tones? It's warm, but there's still blues. All the white people have a good rosiness to them. They're not pale. And Nolan makes sure that his films get shot pretty. My brother did see this in theaters, and he told me it sucked because he was very turned off by the quick editing and the fight sequences. Now, I mentioned in my original review of The Dark Knight how the action is cut so that it doesn't show the consequences. That Heath Ledger pulls a shotgun up on a cop and fires, but because you didn't see the cop get shot, you hear it, there's the assumption he gets shot in the face. And now Heath Ledger has the car. That's them cutting out the violence. Oh, look, it's not violent. You didn't see anything. Yeah, okay. Well, shooting cops in the face, pretty damn violent. Whether or not you show me the blood. In this film, they make Batman faster by cutting out the motions between his movements when he has to fight. And they keep this going, and I do like the idea that as a ninja, he when you can't see him, he can be somewhere else, that he's unlocked these secrets in a way. The training has made him so elusive. And that's the way they show this. So the idea here is he runs away, steals, but mostly from himself or something. It's kind of weird to think rich guy needs to steal. He gets, look, there's some kind of small-time crime syndicate thing. But the stuff they're stealing belongs to him, so now he gets to get away with it. Just say, oh, look, it was my stuff all along. I can come up with some story. What about these other guys? These are the guys who should have some vendetta against Wayne. Looks like you're committing insurance fraud to me. Finally, revisiting the flower. Now that you are nearing the end of your training, you've got your suit of armor. We are crushing your flower up. Mortar and pestle. Talking about fears. It's all this stuff about he unintentionally makes him Batman, not knowing that the bat is the thing that triggers him. But it keeps bringing up fear. They have this fear toxin derived from these flowers. I think these effects are really quite impressive with the dripping demonic Batman. I mean, shit. And the whole case with CGI versus practical, if you put enough time and effort into CGI, you should be able to beat practical. There are certain limitations to practical. Be it the mechanisms, the puppeteering, a stiffness because you just can't pack enough servos underneath the skin of things. But with CGI, you have a lot more time you can work on it in post. And if you really put dedication into it, making sure it's as, and I'm putting up the air quotes here, uncanny valley as you need it be. Maybe there are some limitations. Sometimes where it would be nice, and if at all possible, to go with practical. Now look at these guys. They basically have a dance over here for him. Like, okay, you guys, have we been practicing this? Disappear. I wonder what is there a name for that pulsating effect? You ever see a ninja wear like such a hard face mask? Like Snake Eyes in a way? Oh no, I'm cut. He's going to make him think that he's hiding among them. These guys just get their arms cut and act like total stone. Ah, shit. Why can't I remember this Asian dude's name? The Last Samurai. You're ready to lead these men, ready to become a member of the League of Shadows. Demonstrate your commitment to justice. We're all about justice. You know, you can put together quite an evil organization if you talk up it being a good cause. Notice how this is very much a ninja sword here, not a katana. Ninja swords are quite short. They're made to be drawn quickly to fight close quarters. Larger swords are cumbersome. A claymore is incredibly large. I did some design work for a guy who was working with Mel Gibson and was at Mel Gibson's island. Like, he has a private island, stayed at his private island to try to teach him some mentalist trickery type stuff, try to teach him some tricks. And he got to hold the Braveheart sword, and I shit you not, that Braveheart sword is 6 feet long. You can't whip that out easily. Now, this guy has the look of the character from the comic, but he's the decoy. Who else does that? Who else has the look of a character, but he ends up being a decoy? Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 gets a shitload of flack over it. I think that the problem here is that with Iron Man 3, it's not like, oh, look, Ben Kingsley isn't the Mandarin. There's another guy that's the Mandarin. And he was just playing Iron Man. In this case, the fact that, as people say, that Ducard here is actually Ra's al Ghul, the fact that there is one doesn't betray the character. Now, he has to consider taking this guy's life here based on what they said. Now, if he had done his own research, do you think maybe he'd have a change of opinion here? I don't think he's ready to believe the League of Shadows. What is necessary, my friend? What, destroying the League of Shadows? Does this guy get away from the smoldering flames as Batman decides to bring down the house? I'm sorry, Bruce Wayne, because he's not Batman yet. Quick, hide your explosives in this room. Decoy's a decent sword fighter. I guess, he's got to be a legit member, right? What is the value of this location? I mean, it's not really prime real estate. It's definitely middle of nowhere, but it's elaborate. Boom, dead. Eyes open with blood dripping out of mouth. That is a goner. All right, these guys are kind of getting toast, but I do like this guy who was trying to kill me in a sword fight earlier. Gonna jump out here. All of this looks great, really. Okay, maybe the slide down the mountain from some angles, not so much. Whoa. Hang on. He's really gonna regret not dropping him. Like, hard. Look at this compound. Ninja compound. You'd have to think they have thousands of members. I mean, it looks like some kind of cult. Alright, I saved Liam Neeson. Had a long ass walk through the mountains carrying this guy. I will tell him you saved his life. Okay, well, that's really what I wanted. Alright, I'm gonna bow and pretend I know what you said. Gotta walk it off. Oh, hey, I guess I can always go back to a private plane. They have showers on private jets. You didn't get that mud off. Now, the thing is that while he's gone, he has other people running his company. One of them, Rutger Hauer, honestly seems to be doing a pretty damn good job running the company. I mean, to go lollygag and train and shit, and people haven't bankrupted your company, that you're making cash by not doing anything, can you get that mad about it? Oh, but he does. He ends up firing him. So he can put Morgan Freeman in charge simply because he felt Morgan Freeman was mistreated and kicked into like special program shit. But honestly, the fact that Morgan Freeman was away from the board actually made it easier to get some of these things done for him. He had a butler living as a billionaire. Just, hey, you want to play rich guy for? Just keep an eye on this stuff. Do what you want. Mr. Zaz. Yeah, I forgot that he's in this. Serial killer character, Dr. Caine here, Scarecrow. I really like the idea of Scarecrow in this set of films because it's as simple as put on the scary mask and have some fear toxin. There's not a lot else you have to do to set up the costume, and it is so hard to get costumes to work in a realistic Batman film. They do their damnedest to make sure that you believe Batman needs to at least dress the way he does. Oh, look, an expendable lawyer guy. I mean, why couldn't this have been Harvey Dent? I mean, you have Harvey Dent in the first film, but you just don't kill him. Then you turn him into Two-Face, and then you can deal with Two-Face. Instead, Harvey Dent intro and out in the second movie, as though you never even needed to know. You could just skipped over it. All right, he has to get some inspiration here. Oh, look, it's a bat. I think in the Batman Year One comic, like a bat flies into a window, and that inspires him. And I'm not sure how the original origin thing went. I mean, you can always look up the panel easily enough. Let's go to this well I fell into. It has some caverns. Maybe I can make use of this. I think he mentions that he picks up this hobby of spelunking, doesn't he? Does he call it that? I think he does. Okay, well, we got a source of water. That's always important. Music's strong throughout this. If I had to venture a guess, this could be the last franchise where the music sticks with you. How you can kind of hum the songs. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, you could kind of do that kind of stuff. Dun, dun. Uh-oh, we know that's a bad guy over there. Psychiatrist's got to be a bad guy. I know it looks cool, but people usually turn on more lights. The futuristic Wayne Tower. I think he gets mad at Rutger Hauer for wanting to shut down the stuff that does good for society. Look at all of these people you have to answer to here. I like the way how Bruce Wayne decides that he wants to live up this weird playboy image. Hey, I'm just some rich kid. I couldn't possibly be the guy doing all the crime fighting. I'm too busy goofing around, traveling, driving Lamborghini with girls stacked on top of each other in the passenger seat. Being nice enough to him for the time being. Goes and finds this guy in the dingy basement. A dead end. Hey, it's just so happens we had some pretty amazing tech over here. You need all of this equipment for spelunking, huh? Bulletproof enough. I like this costume. Okay, well, not. I mean, I'm saying the Batman costume of Batman Begins works for me. I honestly don't care for the Dark Knight Batman setup. He starts out with the Batman Begins costume, fine enough, looks Batman enough for me. Oh, but he can't turn his head well. He's not nearly as stiff as Michael Keaton was. Take that into account. But they just metal it up. They put too much metal all over it. He ends up with a belt that's obviously not even holding up his draws. And it's like he became Iron Man. That costume has always rubbed me the wrong way. Just as much as the prototype suit he gets at the end of Batman Forever, or the frozen shit that I've seen, and I have not sat through the whole movie, Batman and Robin. You guys aren't going to make me watch that, are you? Oh, hey, your family's always doing amazing shit. Yeah, these caverns here, this is all the Underground Railroad. No one in the Wayne family ever did anything bad. There's no sex tapes. Got this kind of Metal Gear Solid 4 body armor. I'll just paint over this. Yeah, that's going to paint up easily. Don't have to put a primer or nothing. So what was he talking about there? His batarangs? 10,000 batarangs? He could go through that. This guy. Forgot his name. He was in Memento, so I feel like he's carried over as directors many times want to have a recurring cast of familiars with them. James Cameron had Bill Paxton in many films. Or Lance Henriksen. Lance Henriksen was even in Piranha 2, The Spawning. So usually you want to kind of link that up. I don't think that there's any carryover from following the first Christopher Nolan film, but the guy was in Memento, so we can kind of bring him in here, and it's like, hey, I've got my repertoire theater thing going. Now we're getting a look over here at Gary Oldman. Very hard to recognize from movie to movie. Says you're a good cop. He puts a stapler to the back of his head. does a little bit of interrogating here. Talking about how the Force is dirty. Well, look at this. The guy's shaking in fear and stuff. Is this really the guy you want to trust with everything? In the third movie, he becomes like Mr. Magoo. He's like a bumbling fool. Trips over shit. Very sensitive mission. And you got Commissioner Gordon fumbling it up. He's like, look, we're going to do some good stuff here. You're going to have to trust me on this. Wants to chase him down anyways. That didn't work. All right. Hey, Lucius Fox here. Can you... Yeah, maybe I'm going to need something else to go with this armor. Does Morgan Freeman know what he's doing already? It gives off this impression that he already knows the secrets. Shows off all this tech. Hey, we had all this amazing stuff for the military, but it was too expensive. They don't want to spend that kind of money on one soldier. Made it a they don't want to as opposed to can't afford. Well, at least Morgan Freeman's American. The Tumbler. They never call it the Batmobile. They shy away from calling anybody by a superhero moniker. The Catwoman, she's a cat burglar, the cat. They don't call her Catwoman. Oh, hey, you should go by your name. Oh, you're Robin? Okay. They don't call him Robin, though. Yeah, this thing looks like it was designed to help build bridges, doesn't it? In actuality, this car is quite light. That it's all plastic, painted up to look like depleted uranium. It's no tank. It's actually a fairly light car. I've seen Jay Leno drive one around on YouTube. Here's a crooked cop giving information to this Falcone. Kind of seen this Falcone guy enough you'd think he's the A villain. Now, Alfred's already privy to the knowledge here. I mean, it's obvious enough that he's not, hey, I'm just doing some cave stuff for fun. Never really see him go with these bat fingernails. You're going to need a better process shaping out these batarangs. Here we have some smuggling. First real crime fighting outing for Batman. Look at the way that guy gets sucked into that container. I like the idea of not seeing Batman do all this stuff. You end up getting to share in the fear that these guys are experiencing and the confusion. You know, the Ninja Turtles operated like this in the first movie. Show up, rough up some guys, now they're tied up. Problem out here, you better bail. Christian Bale, not Bret the Hitman Hart. Boom. Impossible move, yet you get this idea that he's trained up in these special techniques. That it's not too outlandish for him to kind of sort of teleport. Here he is fighting just a ton of guys, and you get the impression that there's a scuffle. He was trained up in a kind of bespoke fighting style. It seems like a good idea to me if you're going to say, look, we're putting our own stamp on Batman or a superhero or any kind of action thing. We don't want to just repeat what other people have done as the fights go. I think that it's called like CK or was it KC fighting style. It's a lot of elbows, a lot of range from extending to hit with the elbow, twisting of the torso. Oh, hey, it's the guy I got a coat from earlier. Hey. You know, looking back on it, that's a perfectly fine Batman outfit right there. Maybe the ears could have been a little longer. I don't like the stubby stuff, like the Affleck Batman. And I realize it's like that in one of the comic books. I realize it. Of course, you don't want to be a woman riding a train at night, alone. Alright, what's going on here? I'm out of here. A guy in a costume showed up and I didn't just start laughing at him. He doesn't overdo the Batman voice in this. This is Bale altering his voice slightly. But in the second film, it's, why are you trying to kill me? I'm Batman. He goes too far. And I think that's a major problem with that film, honestly. I mean, it kind of sucks for your movie to be called The Dark Knight and everything's better when it's just the Joker. Oh, come on now. I really doubt he'd be able to strike that. And besides, if there's not any clouds, what are you going to project the bat signal on? If any of this is by design, right? I do like the idea of how the bat signal is used in the Christopher Nolan films. How it's like, we're turning on the bat signal. Now Batman knows that we need to talk. Come gather on the roof. Does he need to be sitting out here like a gargoyle? Probably not. But it's bizarre how the bat signal's used when it comes to the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher stuff, where it's like, hey, put up the bat signal. There's a crime in progress. Get over there. At that point, it's like, hey, why not call the bat cell phone, the bat pager? It would have been a lot easier to get a hold of him. Still, do you need him looking at the sky at all times in case the signal comes on? It's just something that was present in the comics TV show. What it's something that they're like, look, it's not Batman unless we have the car, unless we have the suit, unless we have the signal. I remember people making a deal out of this like routine. It's like, oh, he gets out of bed and immediately he's doing the push-ups. Look how banged up he is. You know, Christian Bale, quite the chameleon when it comes to putting on, losing, gaining muscle. He gets his body to do whatever you want for the role. Plunk. Come on, make him one-handed push-ups. Coast Guard picked up one of our ships. Now, this I don't fully understand. Okay, we have a ship coming in. It has a device carrying a prototype weapon. Microwave emitter designed for desert warfare. Okay, so the thing's sitting here. You're telling me it can be powered on out of the box? You don't got to plug this in? It evaporates water in its vicinity. I don't... Does it not kill people? Aren't we supposed to be mostly water? Again, gotta wonder what year this takes place, because this Murcielago here is not the most impressive car on the block. If this would take place in, say, 2015. He would need something like the Aventador. Ooh, the blonde is not bad looking. I do like how he got around the two-seat dilemma. He's just trying to cause a scene to be like, look, if I'm going to go around doing good here, I need to get people to think it's not me. So I'm going to be douche number one. Oh, you're saying there's a problem here? Oh, well, I'm going to buy the restaurant, and then that'll fix that. Oh, yeah, buy the hotel. Okay. If Gotham City has the real estate value of New York City, I don't think even Bruce Wayne could buy a hotel on a whim. Oh, hey, Rachel. Oh, I didn't want you to see me with these floozies. Sorry. How long was he training up? It's like he got caught cheating on his non-girlfriend here. No, it's not what it looks like. We have some more hotels for you to buy. Oh, how the tides have turned here, Falcone. Pleading insanity. Maybe you can, you're my inside guy here, psychiatrist. Just go ahead and confirm this here. You're not allowed to get in. I keep this mask in a briefcase, just in case. I guess the idea is that he puts on the mask and it has some oxygen in it, so he's not breathing the fear toxin. Good family man, Commissioner Gordon here. Got a kid, got to take out the trash. So they have, was it a shipment of drugs stowed in the stuffed animals, and there's, I think the idea was they got to send them to the Narrows because it evaporates something, but then they have to put in the water supply too, so it's not a strictly fear toxin thing. This guy's going around doing a little protection money racket. If I get arrested, I want to be for racketeering. It just sounds cool. Whoop! You walked right where I wanted you. I swear to God, swear to me. I like that line. Yep. Ah, gone. Oh, hey, I'm the DA guy who's going to be checking out here soon. Hey, I warned you. I said you don't want to know what's in here. Kind of CGI'd up a slum. They don't really do that going forward with the films. It's like let's just what was it, Pittsburgh? Let's just use Pittsburgh, or was it Chicago at some point? There's what's his name, Joffrey, Game of Thrones. Got to have it somebody, another English kid in here, right? Hey, I saw Batman. Can you give me something? I think they have to go and save him later. Okay, so they're smuggling the fear toxin, but then they had to do something with the water supply, which I thought the idea there was that they put the fear toxin in the water supply. Then they evaporate the water. The fear becomes a mist thing. It makes everybody in the Narrows angry. Wasn't that the idea? So why this? Crazy shit happening now. It's working against them here. Bam. Put him on some gasoline there, and throw at him a light, and now he's jumping out a window. Good thing it was kind of raining out. Batman has his wits about him just well enough. Wouldn't do to have some kind of gas mask built into your cowl here, would it? Emergency phone call for Alfred. I'm having a bad trip. Two days knocked out from fear toxin. What's everybody else going through with it? They kind of pretend to keep Fox in the dark. Let's just say it was an accident. Yeah, okay, an accident, right. I gotta say, Christian Bale makes for one old looking 30-year-old. This has a lot of definition in his face. In movies, if someone says be careful, something happens to that person. Telling them to be careful doesn't help. Finders keepers, the arrowhead he retrieved as a boy, gave to her. Personal friend of billionaire drives Ford Taurus. Secret entrance. I forgot about that with the piano. Doesn't keep that locked up necessarily, so it's like if you can get down into the cave, you're set. Now, Rutger Hauer here's not being a bad guy. He's like, look, this thing got stolen. I want some information on what they could be using this for. Also, kind of blaming it on you. Didn't you get the memo that comes to hunt him? Do these people need more fear toxin, like a steady prescription of it? Or are they permanently brain damaged? I guess maybe it lasts until you get the antidote. The bat ears. All the better to hear you with. Behind bars, not in therapy. You know, nowadays it's like, no, they need rehabilitate. They need to go to hospital. Oh, she's getting too nosy. Kind of wanted to hook up with her, but now she's getting too nosy, so she's getting in the way, and this is just the way it has to be. I'm sorry. Run away. So they're making it there. It's not like they've smuggled in the stuffed animals and then drained them out, put them in the water. You know, she's not entirely some helpless victim, damsel in distress. She wanted to do her part. She wanted to fight crime. Not completely useless, just a different set of tools. She got poking her nose around, and now Batman has to save her. It's fair enough. Concentrated dose. It's all from the perspective of the henchman. Yeah, we're privy to the knowledge of Batman, what he can do and what. But we need to kind of be surprised about where he's going to be. He just takes off seemingly flying with that guy. A lot of stealth takedowns. Oh, Scarecrow, you should have ran. I guess that when it comes down to it, you really have Scarecrow as the B villain. Ra's al Ghul is the A villain. Oh, gotta pick her up. Nice little chase he gets into here, though. Immense property damage. Gordon, now he's got a backbone. He's like, huh, SWAT? I'm not waiting for SWAT. Let's go. I think Batman's in there. Snatches away Gordon. Using big words really quick. So he's got to wonder, Ra's al Ghul, maybe he survived. That's like his initial thing. I thought he was dead. Bats. Now, obviously, some of this is CGI. The thing with these bats is they're moving quick enough that you can get away with that. It looks fine enough. I mean, that's plenty convincing, really. You don't have time to say, oh, that doesn't look like a bat. Now, the thing is, would this really call the bats from anywhere? We got the inmates of Arkham. I left the door open. First look at the tumbler in black. A very capable Batmobile. I was really against it on initial look because I felt like Batman didn't need what's essentially a tank. But it's grown on me some. It's not as cool looking as a car as the Batmobile of 1989, which I think, as with the name Mobile, I'm thinking automobile, not the Bat tank. It's incredibly capable. It's just unfortunate that they kind of decided, hey, let's not have a backup tumbler. Let's just, now we have the Bat Pod, which I thought stupid. His cape would just get caught in the wheels. The Bat motorcycle thing is only good as an escape pod. That's what the pod part is. He shouldn't be tooling around the Dark Knight Rises with the Bat Pod. I like how they do this as practical as they can. There are miniatures in the building jumps. Nowadays, that would obviously be CGI, and it would be rushed. Oh, hey, we used an actual helicopter to get this shot. Would you really need to move around in the seat to get this stuff to go? How uncomfortable of a position is that right there? Doubled over, sitting down. Yeah, some GPS, they tell you the streets. Got mine set up for rooftops. Boom, now that's a miniature. Looks fine enough to me. I guess, there might be a possibility that the like chase action song for The Dark Knight you don't hear in this. Yeah, I get. The trailer song from The Dark Knight. Maybe that is actually different. It's could be the new music. I thought it appears in the soundtrack. Maybe just underutilized for Batman Begins. Oh, we lost him. He turned the lights off. Stealth mode activated. What? They can't see it. Stealth mode, aka just turn off lights mode activated. Here we go. You got to make the jump through the waterfall. Nice. Hope you practiced that. Master Wayne, this arrived. Shots in movies are so different than reality, aren't they? They get that gun, they give you like the little up the neck thing, whatever he did right there, right? Compound has to be absorbed through the lungs. Piecing this together. These bat friends. What is this? Who are you? Sergeant Gordon. Moves up to commissioner pretty quick. "24 hours ago, I wanna be sedated." No issues with the Batcave's appearance. It's more workmanlike than in the previous films. Yeah, Rachel's knocked out downstairs. Can you just take her home? Like, the less questions you can ask about this, probably the better. You have a party to attend, these important guests, and then he just goes down there to make them angry. You guys suck. Get out of here. Right you go. It could look creepy. Hard to say. It's too late. You can't stop it now, huh? Has he gone nuts? I don't think he has yet. Misplaced. Whoa, you got fired? Uh? What? I thought you were dead. Wait a minute, you're not him? You. Oh, I know who you are. You're Batman already. I just showed up at your house and told everybody you're Batman. He's got to get rid of some guests. How do you do it? Do you put on some music? Nope. Tell them to piss off. Pretend to act a little drunk. Everybody's looking pretty angry here. Stop smiling. It's not a joke. Please leave. I'm very disappointed. And my mom goes, I'd be ashamed. He sees that there is some league muscle here. I guess part of being in the league is everybody has to get the league goatee. You aren't adorning it with the facial hair. We're going to have to teach you a lesson, Mr. Wayne. Oh, that guy didn't get it. The big plan: have a massive riot in Gotham City. I mean, it's just as effective of a way to destroy Gotham as holding it hostage for a month or so, like in The Dark Knight Rises. Actually, a much more viable method, really. I mean, if you can pull this off, just leave. You don't have to have a goon squad sit there and watch all the exits. There's Zaz. I don't know why he so much wants to protect Gotham in particular. Like every step, every turn, they showed themselves not to be worthy. I mean, from the world he knows, he's not experiencing a lot of this good in Gotham, but it was the vision of his dad, and so he'll do it. Your parents saved the economic collapse of Gotham City, so now we have to do something else. Doesn't really make it sound like he ordered his parents to get killed. I don't think it was a, oh yeah, we put Joe Chill up to it. You didn't mind your surroundings. Left you for dead. Considered even. Wasn't the guy going to tell him? I'll tell him you saved his life. You had one job. That is Arkham Asylum, right? I mean, if it is, it's you kind of envision more from Arkham. A little more isolation, if anything else. Oh man, that guy is Mr. Wait for Backup. Alfred to the rescue. In the second film, they establish him having some special forces background. Initially, Alfred was some actor that Bruce Wayne and Robin like picked up off the streets to be their butler. And then his backstory gets retconned over time to the point that he raised Batman practically, that he has a background in self-defense, martial arts, SAS, that he'll have all these special abilities so that he can come in and act as a old Robin. Wow, why'd your parents have to make, well, your ancestors make the place so flammable, Master Wayne? so we can get back up. Oh, so we can learn to pick ourselves up. Forgot. Oh, bite me. You haven't given up on me. Never. Well, we'll see about that. Dude, I'm going to just start telling the cops I'm a Gotham City District Attorney, let me pass, and see what happens. Probably not going to work in Wichita, but we'll see. Mutual friend. Giggity. Uh-oh. We've infiltrated the SWAT. We have an angry-looking Asian guy. He's got to be one of the gang. Shitload of graffiti. No curse words. Oh, it's Joffrey. Beware SWAT in sheep's clothing. It says Ducard when when he shows up. It says Ducard, gentleman, because he's talking off camera, and it puts it up there with the captions. And I believe he is listed as Ducard in the credits. Gas masks on. What's the range of this device? Antidote. Apply directly to the kneecap. Not enough to go around, crooked cop. You know, the plan in this movie, fairly similar to what ends up happening in Batman Arkham Knight, where the game starts off with this fear toxin exposure, having Gotham evacuated. They never learn their lesson here. We already have all the cops here. It's a trap. Happens again in The Dark Knight Rises. All the cops are there. It's a trap. Such a good, coherent Batman voice. Why did we abandon this? Yeah, I would say I like the way Ben Affleck sounds more preferably. But I don't have any problem with the Batman Begins voice for Bale. Ooh, Taserface from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I can't remember if anything in particular happens to Zaz. Now, are the criminals all up in the fear stuff? Is this not a potent dose? Couldn't find an American kid for this role. I'm British, so I need to get as many British people as possible in my movies. Yeah. Did you get the hint there? I just quoted you. Bruce? Now I'm jumping away. Just try to keep the secret. In one movie, Batman gives his identity away to more people than he ever gave it away under what? Now, Schumacher possibly. I mean, because once you bring in Batgirl, I mean, there's a lot of people who learn who Batman is in this movie. That's what I'm getting at. I can handle 2 of your pawns. Okay, well, here's more. These guys are fully trained up League of Assassins dudes. Shouldn't they be able to go toe to toe with Batman since they had like training? I mean, under the idea that this is where he gets his abilities. Maybe he has better armor. I don't really notice the stiffness of his head here. He's turning as he should. I don't think it's nearly as much of a deal as it is for Michael Keaton's costume. Everyone's afraid of Batman, so they have to attack him instead of running away. It's a fanciful idea, and it's not an awful plot. Like, this is the best plot in a Batman film. Here's the guy explaining the danger to us. Easily follow the trail of poisonous substance. All right, time to duke it out on the bus train that's been graffitied up. Haven't really been keeping care of these great gift to society we have here, have we? You kind of need to beat him up before you go for the stop. It's not world class martial arts stuff or stunt fight choreography here, but it's brutal and effective enough. Give you the sense that there's something at stake here. It's on the line. We feel like we have the actors doing the motions. Don't be afraid, Bruce. Come on now. All this talk about fear, the fear toxin, fear of this. Don't be afraid. Hey, I want you to drive my car that no one's ever figured out anything how to do before, and then guide a shot to take out this rail. Can you do that for me? Yeah, people will probably be asleep. It's no problem if this falls down. I kind of like this. He sticks to his guns here. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. I'm out of here. Adios. Not a bad looking shot. All of the effects in this movie hold up, guys. I mean, I can tell when some things get CGI, but it doesn't break the suspension of disbelief. Kaboom goes the dynamite. And you know, without seeing a decapitated Ra's al Ghul, he stays dead, you know? Yeah, I guess, you know what? I guess the Dark Knight theme doesn't appear here. May have to check up on that soundtrack. Oh, hey, the meeting started without me? Oh, that's kind of weird. What's going on here? You fired the wrong guy. Drunken billionaire burns down house. Not front page news. In movies, when you one up the guy who screwed you over, and he's not Rutger Hauer's not the villain here. He's doing his job and was doing a good job of it actually, but he was ruthless in breaking up the company and more than Wayne wants. You come at them with their own words. It's all a bit technical. I have to rebuild this mansion myself, Rachel, unless you want to pitch in. She's a bit asymmetrical, droopy-eyed for me. But then the odd replacement. She leaves a Batman series to go do like some little girls, I mean not little girls, but all ladies rom-com type comedy thing that bombs hard. Ends up getting Gyllenhaal in here, and no one liked that so much. Looks like Bruce Wayne hanging out with his mom is what it looks like there. Oh, hey, we do have a guy digging. Hey, Butler, you're not really butlering right now? It was also a little cold that day. And this is actually, I think it's England that we don't have castles like this in the U.S. Now, there are people with enough money you'd think they would build as such. I think all of the Batman Wayne Manors have been in England. There might be a slim chance the 66 Batman show had one in America. I have to look that up. Rebuild it so that we can destroy it again. Hell, the Affleck Batman starts out with Wayne Manor destroyed. Look, you don't find grass like that in America. Not at that length. Not in that quantity, that green. And there's our haphazard bat signal. Oh, hey. Sergeant. Now it's Lieutenant. Moving my way up to Commissioner. Got a lot of inmates we have to pick up. Hey, there's a new guy in town doing some stuff. He's leaving this calling card. Joker! Makes you wonder how quickly Joker is brought into this. Like, is this like within a month or something of the end of this movie that The Dark Knight takes place? Though there is a Spider-Man 3 poster in the background at the beginning of The Dark Knight. Yeah, right. With Joker standing there, he's got his mask off. He's looking around, and there it is. Look for it yourself, yeah. All right, let's look through some of these credits here. I want to see the based on characters created by. Appearance in comic books published by DC Comics. Batman created by Bob Kane. They haven't updated it. RIP. Also, keep in mind that in the earlier ones, I think it was Batman Returns had said this, and I think Batman 89, based on characters from magazines by DC. DC Comics magazines, not comic books. They distance themselves from that. Anyways, this has been my commentary. I'm Von Fry. I hope you guys made it through this. Going to be looking at doing The Dark Knight next, as it's on Netflix. They do not have The Dark Knight Rises, and they don't have the other Batmans at the moment, but they'll probably be back someday. And when they do, so will I.